Hi, my name is Mark Polton. I'm a real estate investor in the greater Charlotte, North Carolina area. What you would call a no frills, no thrills real estate investor. If you're looking for somebody with a fancy car in the background, nice studio office, or someone who's trying to sell you a $19.95 a month subscription to their newsletter, I'm not that guy. Check out a different channel. Today, I wanted to share my thoughts on wanting the reward without doing the work. So I call that entitlement. So most of my youth, I was probably very entitled. I can remember many times when I wanted the reward without doing the work. I wanted to be, I played baseball and soccer when I was growing up, but I didn't really want to practice. But I wanted that first place trophy. And one year I did get it, but it wasn't because of me. It was really because it was winter league. Not a whole lot of really good players were playing. And I just happened to be lucky enough to get put on a team with a really good coach, his sons, and a couple other good players, and they pretty much carried the rest of the team. I will tell you though, that first place trophy was one of the greatest things that ever happened to me. But I didn't really earn it. Much different than today's participation trophy culture, which I think is just an abomination. So in high school, I was kind of the same way. I, played football, wasn't exactly all that good. I'd go into the weight room every once in a while, but you know, I even took steroids for a short period of time in high school, thinking that if I just took them, I was going to get big. But that's not really the way it works. You can have force multipliers, things that are going to give you an unfair advantage, as Robert Kiyosaki would put it, and you should take advantage of every unfair advantage you can get. But you still have to do the work. Um, Steroids is a perfect example. You can take massive amounts of steroids, and it's possible you'll get a little bit bigger, but you're not going to get bodybuilder big unless you go in and do the work. You still have to do the work. So how does that relate to buy and hold real estate? Well, your dad may have $100 million, and he may give you a $500,000 loan to start out, and that's going to be very different than somebody like me who had to come up with the money himself, go out and find my own lenders now and stuff like that. And so you could call that a unfair advantage, as Robert Kiyosaki would say. But it doesn't mean that you're not going to have to do the work. You know, just because you've you've solved a large portion or a big problem in the buy and hold field doesn't mean that you just don't have to go out and experience and have to learn and gain the wisdom that the rest of everybody else has to gain after they've solved that problem as well. You still have to worry about tenant screening, rehabs, um, you know, running credit checks, eviction checks, having the proper procedures in place for collecting rent and evictions and stuff like that. And so, just because you're entitled doesn't mean that you're going to get what you think you're going to get. You still have to do the work. Now, if you look, it could be anything. Talking to women, being good at computers, which is something that I'm actually very, very good at. Um, even though I played video games and stuff like that, and played a lot of video games, and I had some understanding of how computers worked, and mainly because, you know, for your younger generation, you're not going to get this, but when I was growing up, we had to worry about memory. We had to load drivers for things like sound cards and CD-ROMs, but we didn't have a lot of memory. We had to load stuff in memory high. It was just, it was, it was a constant battle to try and get all the drivers loaded. Even the mouse driver had to be loaded, and so that you could get whatever particular game you have that you're trying to play to work. It's not like today's Xbox console. You just stick in a DVD and bam, you're done. Or today's computers, everything's plug and play. It wasn't like that growing up. I had to do the work to play video games. Perfect example: Red Alert, Command and Conquer, great titles, but you still had to do the work. Even after that, though, when I started transitioning into being a network engineer and a systems engineer, just because I had done some computer work doesn't mean that I didn't have to do the work for those two fields. So you're going to see this a lot. Um, Occupy Wall Street was a particularly great source of entitlement people who wanted the reward for not doing the work. So they thought that corporations should pay for everything and they should get free college, and corporations should have to hire them even though they have a degree in underwater basket weaving, and that's just not how the world works. You have to go out there and you still have to earn it. You still have to do the work to get the reward. So how else can we? What other examples can I give you? Well, I don't have um, a lot of extra cash in our cash flow to hire employees or even to pay really good contractors. We hire contractors when we have to. I do the work a lot myself. And there's going to be a lot of people in this industry who say you should never do that. I will tell you that doing this work myself has been one of the most valuable and rewarding aspects because nobody can pull the wool over my eyes. Nobody can blow smoke up my keister. I know what it takes to put up siding. I know what it takes to tear down siding. I know what it takes to put a kitchen in. I know what it takes to put subfloors in. I know what it takes to replace foundational elements. I know what it takes to reinforce a roof and put a new roof on there. I've done it. I've done it all. And because of that, I get the reward. You're not going to come in here and snowball me and say, oh, I had a brick guy come in one day. He wanted $1,500 just to put some bricks back into place and match the mortar. It was a $300 job. But he's trying to tell me how hard it is. Well, one day I decided to actually go and do the work, watch some YouTube videos, stuff like that. It's just really not that hard. It's a pain in the butt. It's not exactly glamorous or fun, and I don't particularly enjoy doing it. But at the end of the day, you know, the mortar, the grout or whatever it is, doesn't match. But who cares? The people we rent to don't. You're probably never going to notice. And the stairs, steps, or whatever it is, patio, is going to last, another 20, 30 years probably, maybe more if you did it right. Does it look like a professional does it? No. Does it matter? No. I'm in a C class, C plus neighborhood, B minus at the best. People don't know what brick is supposed to look like. I mean, I guess a little bit, but they're not paying attention to that. They're like, oh, it's a new kitchen. That's what wows them. So, anyways, it took me a long. So, how did I get away from that entitlement mentality? I remember sitting in a Robert Half International office in Northern Delaware, and it just dawned on me after I'd been rejected on about 8 or 9 interviews that I was not going to no one was going to hand me anything. That if I wanted something in this world or to make something of myself or to make a lot of money, I was going to go out there and have to earn it. And, you got to pay your dues. And that's what I'm doing right now is I am paying my dues. I'm going to estimate that by home 18 at the latest, could be home 15, depending on how quickly we bring my wife home. We will probably actually hire 1 or 2 part-time crew members, 20 to 30 hours a week, and they will start to do the majority of the labor. But we got to get to that tipping point, right? We have to build up these baby steps, and we have to build up that cash flow, service the debt, so that we can, so that we actually, that cash flow coming in every month, more and more of it is ours, and it's not the banks or some private lender or something like that. So, listen, very few people are going to get the reward without the work. Um, I can't even think of an example of somebody, maybe a trust fund, maybe, or something like that. But I really don't think they're getting the reward, anyways. Um, you know, the most rewarding things in life come while you're out fulfilling, your definite purpose. I might have made a video on that. If not, I'll make one on it at some other point. But anyways, I hope you go out there and live the "you won't stop me" lifestyle. Like, tell you right now, you're not going to stop me. I just left my very first rental home. We're doing a complete exterior rehab. Got the entire front of it done, vinyl siding on it. Looks really good, and I'm excited to finish this project up. Anyways, I wish you success.